Welcome again. Got my cap on this, right? Keep my head warm. Now, I've been talking to you the last few days over what I'm told being born again, but receiving a spirit. Now, we don't always recognise what is happening. We know something is happening, and that's because there's a change going on. And when we think of things like, what should I do to become a witch or a wizard or a warlock? We're thinking, basically, as we have seen maybe on the movies, television, what do we know somebody who is a practicing witch? And we must try to have some image. What are we trying to achieve? What are we being called into? Because if we haven't, then we're just blindly jumping into a very dangerous area. So I'm trying to help to define a couple of things. Now, for myself, I first got interested in what was it that the witches were doing, why were they doing it, what were they doing, and how they did it. I thought it was curiosity, but I also came from that, from a spiritual background. I knew that something had happened years ago. I knew that I could read people in a way that people didn't know that they were being read. It was a gift. I started to see things before they happened, and it was almost like I could guess what was going to happen. And it became, I think, not worrying, but I couldn't see, why did I know this? What was the point of me knowing this? Who am I? I'm just normal Joe Soap. But Spirit somehow sees something in us that we don't see in ourselves. And Spirit comes with the ability and the gift to change things, to work in us, and to work those changes through. So we're not self-reliant. I know it's a lot of people like to read books. That's their choice. Personally, I read less now, and I do what I call my meditation, in a sense of not going there going home, my internal examination. Because whatever decision anybody makes, right, it's them, it's you, being you, doing the doing. Nobody else. It's you, being you, doing that. This is very important that we understand that it's us, our choice. We are doing the doing. And we're not being something that we're not. If it's you putting on your lipstick, or you're combing your hair, or shaving your chin, whatever, it's you doing the doing. Right? Mentally, it is exactly the same. Your thoughts are that they're your thoughts. So understanding why you want something is very important. Why do I want to be spiritual? Now, I've listened to, and I've said this before, I came here because there's a big problem on YouTube. There's a lot of people who are absolutely brilliant. They know the stuff. The information they bring is that it's information. And I look at it and I digest it. but it would not make me a witch. You see, our practice requires a spirit to work with us, or an entity. So when I was called originally, it was by Jesus. Now, don't get me wrong, you don't turn off. Not the Jesus of the churches, not the Roman Catholic version or the Pentecostal version. What I believe is the real Jesus, a deity like Lilith, like Hecate, a real person who came to teach. And some of the things that he said were absolutely amazing. They're so true. But he is not the confession box version, not the Eucharist version. He's a deity. And as such, he performs and has his own personal uniqueness. As does Lilith, is different to Hecate, who is different to Jesus. And those are the three who I work with most. Now, the only time I work with the more Hindu side of it is because of the mantras. So Kali, K-A-L-I, her mantras, and I also feel an affinity to Kali, that she's popping in, saying, I know, I am behind you. Lilith is very much the same. I know that when things are going wrong, when things are turning pear-shaped, her presence, her intervention makes a difference. Now, I don't want to go into that too much, because a lot of what these deities do is personal, and it's not a boasting, oh, this, that, or the other boast. It's very private, it's very personal, but it's also very real. So those that are screaming to get your attention, those that are actually, you look online and notice this, that some of the more popular people on YouTube who call themselves witches all seem to follow a pattern. They're all talking about the same thing, but they're never telling you about the success that they're having. They never tell you about the time they laid hands on somebody and so spirit healed that person. They never give you that testimony. And I can give you plenty, but I'm not here to boast, I'm not here to brag. I'm just here to tell you that it works. It does it as it says on the label. Now, I'm old enough not to spin you a yarn. I know that in my first years it was awful. The amount of people that abused my naivety. And even today people try it on. But you know, there's no fool like an old fool. And one day you wake up and you think, I've had enough of this. Now, one thing is, you'll hear somebody telling you to do this. They never tell you how to do it unless it's already been blogged 100 times before. It doesn't come with the information to do it. Neither does it come with the credibility that they've done it, because they don't prove it. And another thing people will tell you, if it's not happened, it's your fault, you've done it wrong. And I would like to say to that, bull. It's not you. I think it's the fact that they've made something up, or they're trying to sell what's very popular on YouTube, and they've got no idea. They scream and shout, and I bet if some of them are coming onto this video now and watching it, they'll be horrified because they're being called out by an old guy with whiskers. Well, be careful, because I too have my protection, and the mantras of the chants that are done are to ward off and to warn you that if you go to try any stunt like that, not only will it come back on you, it will come back tenfold. So be careful. I'm not here to argue. I'm not here to do anything but to help those of you that are honestly seeking to move forward. Now, you can probably see at the back all the masks and paintings, and I make all those. I do all that. That's my hobby. I'm invested in what I do, and I enjoy what I do. That's part of the altar that I'm creating at the moment for Lilith. I enjoy it. It's a lifestyle. It's also a working practice. So at this moment in time, I find that if I'm doing anything, there are certain people who will try to break through. They'll do it on purpose. You can hear them now banging outside my door. It's all done because they know what I'm doing. And, I feel sorry for them. Because if they'd sit and listen, they'd learn. And what they're missing out on in life would improve their life. But they can't see it because they're so invested in their own idea. They've already seen it. They have a want. And this is where the warning comes. There's nothing different in the mindset of a banker or somebody who has multiple businesses. Their aim is to make money. That's their aim. Their goal in life is to be richer, to have more. Now, you'll have your Buddhist monk and you'll think, well, that's completely different. But it's not. See, all these people telling you a spiritual way forward. The Buddhist monk meditates for hours because he wants to be more spiritual. He wants to know more about the things of spirit, so he studies. It's a trap. You are you, being you. No matter what you do, no matter what you think, it's you thinking those thoughts. It's you following blindly because you don't know and you want to know and it sounds good. It's a more. I want to be more. I want to have a superpower. I want to control things. All these things will not get you very far. You'll find people like Aleister Crowley. Look him up, how he died. He took his magic so seriously. He was a practitioner. But one particular time as he got older, he took on a demon. He summoned the demon and it didn't work out how he hoped it was, and he died on a seafront boarding house in agony and in pain. But I wonder, have you ever come across Aleister Crowley in the afterlife? Ask him what would he change, and I wonder, his experiences with that, they were experiences, his experiences. They weren't things that he read, they were things he wrote about, so others could read. I want you to realise that you can have these experiences. All you have to do is to start to examine yourself. Ask yourself, why do I really want this way of life? What is it that I find so fascinating? And then continue to grow, but to grow with one main thing inside. Everything that you see in my background, everything, it matters not. Not even the cap on my head or the clothes I wear. All they do is keep my head warm and my body warm. They don't matter, they're things. The only place you really live in is there inside your head. Your thoughts are that, they're yours. And the moment you start to take in, like the bank, you want more. There's only so much you can absorb. There's only so much you can do. And it's you doing the wanting. It's your want to be more spiritual. We all want to progress. I want to know more. But I've learned the only way I will know more is by looking at where I've been, what happened, and what mistakes I made, and where I felt I was right. It's personal. And it's so personal that really nobody can teach you. You have to learn to know yourself. Right? It's like reading tarot cards. Tarot cards all have basic meanings. Each particular card has its own. And knowing that meaning, you can express to somebody, this is what the card means. When I read tarot, I'm given more, because it's a spiritual input. Like being a seer, you can see what the cards are pointing to. And they don't necessarily follow A, B, C pattern that most people teach tarot with. Now, there's nothing wrong with teaching tarot. But if you're called to tarot, you'll start to realise when you can digress from those basic meanings and when there is something else being revealed. Now, the deck itself, the pictures on the cards, they're very important. They change for each particular deck, each style. Now, I'm not talking the same deck, I'm talking different styles. There's so many decks out there. So be careful, choose wisely. Because some of them, I don't know, maybe me, I don't get on with them. Others, I'm just amazed at how much can be gained from that particular image because it has a particular meaning. So it's a pointer. Reading tarot is a gift. And that gift is be able to interpret what the cards mean. Different people will give you different readings from the same cards. It doesn't mean that in some cases, when they're gifted, that they're wrong. It's just that their gifting gives them a different understanding. The readings, life is so complex that from the same 3 cards, you could get multiple readings because life is so complicated. It depends on your circumstances. Are you a mother? Are you a father? Are you young? Are you old? Are you at the start of your career or are you at the end of it? Those 3 cards will not change, but the meaning behind those cards will. So it's not complicated. It just requires that we start to listen and mature, because Spirit is speaking to us. And you'll learn that if you are desperate for friends, and a lot of people today are getting more and more isolated, I understand that. But if you're desperate for information and you come across some who are so, well, just amazing, they really are top class. There's guys out there and women who are producing some stuff that I find fascinating. And then I find one thing that they all have in common. They're not teenagers. They're talking about a craft, not a want to be. So if you've been listening to this and you say, well, yeah, I get what he's saying. What I'm going to suggest now is that don't buy. I create those masks. It's my hobby. I love building altars. It's my craft. But there'll be times when I'm walking around, I could be sat in a park or even catch a bus, where I haven't got an altar. I've got the space in my head. And if it's nice, I do a lot of photography. And from that photography, why I'm out, I learn to see where the picture is. I need the equipment to capture that picture. And through experience and through a lot of money, I have both. It doesn't come over at night, but that feeling that I've got my phone, I'm a great photographer. Look at my pictures. Your camera on your phone is AI orientated. It will give you great pictures because the AI today knows what it's looking for. What the Spirit and the AI have in common is that they're far more intelligent than I am. But I do know when I see something whether I like it or not. And I do know when I'm listening to somebody whether they're talking the talk or they've been walking the walk and giving you a lowdown on the landscape, on the territory. This can be a very dangerous place for people who are starting out. Peace, quietness, and ask, who are you calling me? What is your name? And somehow you might find through the prompts that one particular deity is in your face all the time. If that's the case, then ask, is it you, Hecate? Was that you in my dream, Hecate? Lilith, was that you in my dream? You'll start to realise that these characters come to you. They find you. You don't find them. They're not lost. You are. And so my entire life now on this channel is to help you. Remember that if we've got a want for more, if we've got an attraction, and I have, for the occultic looking things, I have this love of creating them. It's a gift. So I create them. Not everybody will have that gift. But I don't need them. While I'm making them, they're a great comfort to me. They keep my mind occupied. They keep my fingers supple. And I use my skills. And I create, paint, draw, make sigils. That's what I use in my tarot reading. They're all got their own meaning to me. That's just some of them. But they serve a purpose. Now I've learned over the years that that serves a purpose. And that when I've created them, I use them. And they help in the craft that I do. I don't need somebody screaming down my throat telling me what they've read, or I know all about the left-hand path. I got so fed up with people who didn't really know anything about the Tree of Life, the Kybalion. It was so obvious, but if you don't know nothing, they sound clever, they sound knowledgeable. And you ask them a week after what they were talking about, and they won't have a clue, because it's not in them. They're too busy chasing, and they're watching each other's videos, and they're parroting. That's all they're doing. They parrot, and they copy one another. Now, what I've given you is a real life experience that I don't think they'll even know what's on. So it's up to you. You can either take my advice or not. But my advice is to sit down and start talking to yourself and ask yourself the question, why do I want to have a life as a witch? Why do I want the spiritual path? Because it's not an easy one. But why do I want it? Do I want it like the Buddhist monk who wants to be more spiritual, so he'll spend hours devoting his time? People spend hours doing practices that they get nothing out of, but when they talk to other people, they tell them it's not doing it right, so they believe them. If you're not getting anything out of it, it's obvious it's not working. And if it's not working for you, why on earth would you think it's working for somebody else? You think they're better than you? Give up. Use your brain. That's why you've got one. Start by asking yourself, what is it I'm trying to do? What is it that I really want to achieve? Making little portions. saying little mantras, saying little chats. I think it's beautiful. And some of them work, some of them don't, depending on, not you, on the deities, whether they accept it or they don't. So just be real with yourself and start to ask yourself, what can I do? Now, I'm going to start with tarot because I'm very good at tarot because I've been gifted with tarot. So my next video is about tarot and how and what it means to me as a practitioner. Thank you for listening, and I do hope you get to hear this if you need to, and that you actually realise that what I'm saying is not for money, it's not for anything. It's just because I care about people. Thank you. Have a great day.